Shalom. Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Quadar of GMS Gulf Coast, and I'd like to start by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors are given up to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored and suffered in this truth for over 30 plus years, for over 30 years, so like making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice. As well as a shalom goes to the bishops, the elders, the heads of camps of GMS by and large, as well as Akim, not named GMS, but walking one body, one spirit in Yahweh Shai, preaching and teaching 100% truth. And last but not least, shalom goes out to the hopefully elected 1/3 of the nation of Israel, which is scattered throughout the four winds of planet Earth, north, south, east, and west, which consists of men, women, and children in that order. To you all, shalom. And as you see, Texas is first and foremost. Let me state this. Lord willing, this be an edifying video. This is more or less just a conversation, something dealing with law. That would be the subject matter of this particular video. There's a question that pops to mind: Does Texas has the right to succeed from from the United States? And we're going to pose that question, and we're going to see if we can answer that question. Because I as a man spoke to this on one of our conference calls. So I'm going to delve into it. So just, Bob Kushal, just bear with me.
Legally secede from the U.S., despite popular myth. The theme of independence has recurred throughout the history of Texas, which was a republic from 1836 to 45, but the Civil War established that a state cannot secede.
The Civil War. It says right here in Google, no, Texas cannot legally secede from the United States. But you notice it says United States, despite popular myth. Now, it's no longer called the United States. It is called the United States of America. Huh? Now that makes that right there, those little few extra words can mean a whole lot in interpreting a law. Now, if you step into a courtroom, you have to learn or know what the law of the courtroom, which is called legalese. So capital letters, all caps, things of that nature. There, speaking in first, third person, all those things count for something. It, as well as any conversation that's being held dealing with politics, law, policy making, things of that such. As they say, the devil is in the details, or the deceiver is in the details. In other words, they write the deception in words, you know what I'm saying? So it says, no, Texas can't legally succeed from the U.S. Mind you, this place is called the United States of America, not United States. It's no longer called that. So this is a corporation. But we're going to delve a little bit deeper in that, into this. Let me read this on. Let me read this. It says, the theme of independence has reoccurred throughout the history of Texas. So this was a conversation, the fact that it says a reoccurred theme throughout the history of Texas. So I don't know if you peel back the layers, you know what I'm saying? There may be a way that Texas can succeed from the United States of America. Maybe not the United States, but maybe the United States of America. Okay, it reads, the theme of independence has reoccurred throughout the history of Texas, which was a republic from 1836 to 1845. But the Civil War established that a state cannot succeed. Okay, Texas cannot, it's like it can't succeed from the U.S. Here's why. The Texas Tribune. Again, U.S., not U.S. of A, or United States of America. Is Texas planning to leave, the United States? Mind you, now, some would probably say to the pettiness of an argument, or to belittle the argument. It says the United States, but it doesn't say the United States of America. Words have meanings. In March of 2023, State Representative Brian Slayton introduced a bill that would add a referendum on independence to the 2024 U.S. election ballot. Notice they say in the U.S. anyway. In December of 2023, the Texas Nationalist Movement claimed that it collected enough signatures under the petition to include a question of succession on the ballot of 2024. Now, there's a lot going on down at the border of Texas and Mexico down there. So much to the fact that that it's going public that the federal government, and you notice that this particular governor was saying that these laws are protected from federal mandates. You understand? Suppressors, what kind of carry, gun holster you carrying it in, and it is the federal government that requires that you register your weapons. So they're trying to relinquish themselves from or separate themselves from federal mandates or federal government laws. You got to listen closely to what they're saying. And this all fuels the argument of the United States splitting, you know, this in-house fight that they're having. They're not going to have the whereabout of themselves to be able to keep, the tight the mighty grip on the world when you're fighting internally. That's the best way for your empire to fall if you have infighting. That's how the old Roman Empire fell, stretched thin and fighting amongst one another. When you read into those emperors and whatnot, the 12 emperors, there was a lot of infighting, a lot of, sniping one another and poisoning and killing and all kind of, and ultimately, you know, it played against them. And you're seeing the same thing now, You're seeing the same thing now. But they said, right here says that they collected enough signatures under the petition to include a question of succession on the ballot of 2024. Now, let me see here. It was something I was looking up here. I'm going to make sure I get back to it. Can states legally succeed from the United States? Let me see if I can find that. Here we go, right here. Okay, it says some have argued for secession as a constitutional right, and others as from a natural right of revolution. In Texas versus White, 1869, the Supreme Court ruled unilateral secession unconstitutional while commending that revolution or consent of the states could lead to a successful secession. The Supreme Court ruled unilateral secession unconstitutional while commending that revolution or consent of the states. Now, let's get this word unilateral real quick. Let's look up this word unilateral, because it says unilateral secession is unconstitutional while commending that revolution or consent of the states could lead to a successful secession. So we're gonna get it here. Let's see. Let's bag up out of that. Let's see. Word. I-L-A. Let's see.
Unilateral.
An action or decision performed by or affecting only one person, group, or country involved in a particular situation without the agreement of others, without the agreement of another or the others, unilateral. So it says it's an action or decision performed by or affecting only one person, group, or country involved in a particular situation without the agreement of another. So others will have to agree to this, in other words. Let's see. What is the real definition of unilateral? You know what I'm saying? It says done or undertaken by one person or party. Let's see. Slack it. Move it out the way. What is the full meaning of unilaterally? It says in a way that involves doing or deciding something without first asking or agreeing with another person or group or country. So they would have to have a consent of other states. I'm just throwing it out there. But it's not impossible to succeed from the United States. Mind you, this is the United States of America. I don't know if they use that short term anymore. United States. Let's see. Unilateral. I'm just looking at a few more definitions of the word unilateral. We're going to move on. The party leader as actual declared or support disarmament. Now, alone, bilateral, alone. Double action, dual, himself, multiple, plural. So, let's go back. Can Texas, see that, can Texas succeed from the U.S.? Texas has a unique right among states to split itself into 5 states, but not to succeed from the United States of America. Now look at that. Now they got it in there. Okay, let's see what this says from the Texas Tribune. Let's see what it says. See, that's very important that you put that of America, United States of America. That's important, In a court of law, in the court of law for the record, you have to have it all together because one little technicality can lose you your case or your argument. What is it? Let's see. Did I match the right thing? I don't think I did. Civil War played a very big role in establishing the power of the federal government and cementing that the federal government has the final say in these issues. It says the legality of succeeding is problematic, says Eric McDaniel, associate professor of government at the University of Texas at Austin. The Civil War, going back to the Civil War, because it had to be an agreement because the country was split. You had the northern states, which I think they called it the Union, and then the southern states was called the Confederacy. They even had their own different presidents at that time. You know what I'm talking about? So, and they still operate on that. Yankee versus the Southerners. You know what I'm talking about? They still have that same mindset that has never died down in the spirit of this so-called white man. You know what I'm talking about? That's never went anywhere. They still have that age-old fight going back to their forefathers, all the way to the point where they be reenacting certain things. You know what I'm saying? Got to pay close attention to these devils, man. You know what I'm talking about? Because then it comes to a head, and what they be doing in those smoke-filled rooms and whatnot, it comes out in the public discourse. And you, for the most part, you know what I'm saying, not knowing the inner works or the inner fights between these so-called white men, you be lost. So you rather just look at a damn America's Got Talent or Super Bowl, than be sitting there trying to make sense of why they fighting and whatnot. When the whole time it's going to affect your bottom dollar. It's going to affect your bottom line, the way you're going to live and see day to day. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, the legality. Okay, it says the Civil War played a very big role in establishing the power of the federal government and cementing Yeah, that's it, right. Cementing that the federal government has the final say in these issues. But we just read that they had put out a petition that had enough names on it to be able to move forward with whatever they're trying to do, you know. And we know in the scriptures, you know what I'm saying, it's this infighting is scriptural, you know what I'm talking about? There's a very thin line between being civil and being a wild man when they're dealing with people who are not peaceful, you know what I'm talking about? And the so-called white man is not peaceful. You know, he be working hard to try to keep that charade going, but ultimately it unravels, as we're seeing. Many historians believe that when the Confederacy surrendered at, I can't pronounce that, in 1865, the idea of secession was also defeated, according to McDaniel. According to McDaniel, see, it says the Union's victory set a precedent that the states could not legally succeed. It is also important to note that the European Union is a loose association of compound states with pre-existing protocols for a nation to exist. In contrast, the U.S. Constitution contains procedures for admitting new states into the nation, but none for a state to leave. Yet the myth that Texas can easily succeed persists in part because of the state's history of independence. No, it still exists because it's still there. You have to, it's like I say, you have to peel back the layers of the lie, you know, because didn't Biden say that they were going to suspend federal convictions of small uh, possessions of marijuana, and they were left up to the states to do what they were going to, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, of course it was left up to the states because they can operate up under their own law. Each state has its own constitution. See, that's a lot that they leave out in those classrooms that, you know, that just leave the average American citizen a dodo bird. So when they be saying certain things, okay, we in the federal law, we said that we ain't gonna be counting these small quantities of marijuana, you know, but the state is left up to the states whether they gonna do it or not. You know what I'm talking about? You got to read into that. Okay. It's also important to note that, okay, I read that, to contain procedures for admitting new state. Okay. Yet the myth that Texas can easily succeed persists in part. Okay, I read that. Texas declared independence from Mexico in 1836. That's a good one to go read up on. You go into board and milk, you know, with the cow, board and milk. You get into to the Bordens. The great grandfather, he actually helped Sam Houston to get off into all of that, you know. Sam Houston and Borden Milk. Read up on that history and you'll see that has a lot to do with Texas becoming a state or succeeding from Mexico. Borden Milk. Texas declared independence from Mexico in 1836 and spent the next 9 years as its own nation. See? So that's still, believe it or not, you know, you would have to dig deep, but I'm quite sure that you can find where they still reserve the right to be their own nation. That's just me speaking as a man. I haven't yet pulled that up, but I would go out on a limb and say that, you know, because I have, from years back, I remember reading this, you know, not this right here in particular, but I remember reading that Texas had reserved the right to succeed. That actually came up in one of these elections. I don't know whether it was Obama, Bush, or Clinton, but it's been recently. This ain't the first time that this came up about Texas succeeding, and given the political atmosphere and the political and political split that's the federal government is having with Texas now. These things are prevalent. While the young country's leaders first expressed interest in becoming a state in 1836, the Republic of Texas did not join the United States until 1845, when Congress approved the joint resolution for annexing Texas to the United States. This resolution, which stipulated that Texas could in the future choose to divide itself into new states of convenient size, not exceeding four in number. In addition, in addition to said states of Texas is often a cause of confusion about the state's ability to succeed. But the language of the resolution is clear. Texas can split itself into five new states. It says nothing is of splitting apart from the United States. It says nothing of splitting apart from the United States. In the years after Texas joined the Union, tensions over slavery and states' rights mounted, and a state convention in 1861 voted 166 to 8 in favor of secession, a measure that was then ratified by popular vote, making Texas the seventh state to secede from the Union. Yeah. I do believe that Texas do reserve the right to succeed, because if you look at what they're pushing down there. Matter of fact, let's go back to that real quick. I'm gonna grab a few precepts afterwards.
Next, we are also preventing any government entity from prohibiting the sale or transportation of guns or ammo during a declared disaster.
See, let's listen to it again. Let's listen to it again.
Next, we are also preventing any government entity from prohibiting the sale or transportation of guns or ammo during a declared disaster.
Preventing any government entity. What other government do you have to worry about? Stepping in. Stepping on your shoes. It's the federal government. If you read law, supreme federal supersedes state and local. Just like, you have chain of command on the job. You got the man on his tools, you have the supervisor, you have the foreman, the superintendent. And then you go into the management after that, you know what I'm saying? Same way in law, You have the state and local, and if you want to make anything change, you want to file any charges, you have to go to your district federal courtroom and file a motion or a notice in order to get something done state and local. You have to go to the supervisor. So who is the supervisor here? The federal. And they're writing in laws that supersede their supervisor stepping in to prohibit anything that goes on in Texas concerning these new gun rights. Why is that? Because they're preparing. They're preparing. I mean, the writing on the wall. Shit. I mean, shit, it ain't hard to figure out. Let's let it play.
Prohibiting any government entity from contracting with any business that discriminates against firearm and...
Now they prohibiting any government entity. Now they being, that they're going to be in alliance with any of any citizens of certain towns in Texas. I'm going out on a limb here, that want to go against what's being pushed in Texas now. Say Austin, Texas, want to get out of line and join with the government, and no, we don't like what the governor doing here, so we gonna no. The governor, they signing in laws that that's prohibiting that alliance. Listen to it.
Also prohibiting any government entity from contracting with any business that discriminates against firearm and ammunition.
Say that with any business that discriminates against the laws that they're passing, that they're loosening up there.
Businesses and organizations like the NRA.
Oh, they got the NRA on their side, man. Hey, them clowns, they ain't that nice. Read up on the history of the NRA. Ooh, that's a powerful lobby. You know what I'm trying to say? Lobbying. You know, they're powerful lobbyists. Put it like that.
Next is what I call holster choice. Texas eliminated the shoulder or belt holster requirement, allowing Texans to carry in whatever kind of holster they choose. Listen, we're not done yet. Two more. So this is an interesting factoid. So this year, Texas passed 7 laws protecting gun ownership rights in Texas. Last session, we actually passed 10 laws protecting gun owner rights. And so the 2 sessions combined 17 laws passing gun rights in Texas. Surely there's no state in America that's ever done as much protecting gun rights in their state. This next law, it protects travelers who are traveling through the state of Texas, and it allows them to store firearms in their hotel rooms.
In other words, what they call it, that law where it says where you can protect your castle, like your cars, your house. You know, you're allowed to have guns and loaded guns in your cars and your house. You know, pretending, given the state that you're in. I think it's the castle doctrine or castle law, something to that degree. They saying shit, you can have them in your. They're extending it to hotel rooms. Man, you got to ask yourself, why they doing all this, man? Man, they got millions of people flowing in through that border down there. You know what I'm talking about? And this is just my phrase. This is me as a man speaking. The United States done declared Operation Chaos on its citizens, man. Operation Chaos. All the entitlements that they were giving to so-called black women and women and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? They giving that to these quote unquote illegals. While they study around here with them commercials, you got your $1,500 subsidy from the federal government. You got your $6,500 subsidies from the federal government. They bringing up Barack name again. You know what I'm saying? This has everything to do with the Obama administration. All this type of madness, man. They all over the place. But the conversation going around now is about what Usher and what's her name, Alicia Keys was doing at the damn Super Bowl. That's where the minds of really so-called blacks, Latinos, Native American, majority of you blacks. You know what I'm talking about? Damn football fans and whatnot. Many folks over here passing radical laws, getting ready to fight. And mind you, listen. If Lord willing, this pops off, man, it's gonna be state to state. They're gonna be boxing with bullets. Anyway, let me grab a few precepts. Let's get up out of here, man. This been going on a little while, man. So let me see now. Let me I can't think of 1 or 2 precepts for this. Okay, let's see. Get this old slow phone to pick up and do like it's supposed to. Message to Egypt. Isaiah the 19th chapter, verse 1, and it reads, "The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart and the mind of Egypt shall melt in the midst thereof. And that cloud is talking about the chariots. I'm talking about. I seen a commercial today where some UFOs, quote unquote, came in, and everybody was on their phone looking down. They was in their cars, on their pads and whatnot, and the sky was full of UFOs, and it was them little aliens. I'm talking about. But anyway, and everybody was so into their phones and whatnot, and didn't see those chariots pull up, and so the big head grays, quote unquote, they had to send out a message via the satellites or the signals that reach all your cell phones and whatnot. Said, look up. Ooh. And I laughed at that. I thought that was funny, man, because guess what? You know, because that's the predicament you so-called Americans you find yourselves in, man. It's going down and you ain't even seeing it happening. You know what I'm talking about? That's it. That's it. Anyway, verse 2, and it says, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Let me go get this in Second Thessalonians. I think it says Second Thessalonians 2:5. I believe it says. Okay. Now let's see. Let's go. I think it's First Thessalonians, real quick. 3:5. So, let's see. The day of the Lord. This is First Thessalonians 5, and I'm gonna start at the top. It says, "But of the times and the season, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you." Because if you paying attention to the signs, you're measuring the times, you know, diligently. You know what I'm talking about? You're doing your due diligence. You're standing upon your watch. You're keeping up with these world events, man. You know what I'm talking about? These prophecies and whatnot. And these things are gonna be happening in session, and you're gonna be able to put them together like a Lego block. But to the others, like that, like I said in that commercial where them damn aliens pull up and had to goddamn they did that emoji where you put your hand over your face, shaking your head. You ever see that commercial? Anyway, they had to put out, and told them to look up. Y'all look up. Shit, we here. And the sky was full of UFOs. Anyway, it says, verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. And the way they portraying it, man, you out there in the daytime, and they done rolled up on you. The Lord done rolled up on you. You know what I'm talking about? America's through, and all the citizens thereof through. You're through. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You're not going to be escaped. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's rough. Anyway, this was more of a going into, subject matter was more or less going into, could Texas actually succeed? You know what I'm talking about? Do they have the legal whereabouts or grounds? And to be truthful, from this particular, video, this particular lesson I just did, is ambiguous at best. It's not, and we're going to get that word ambiguous, and we're going to close out. It's
Here's the definition of ambiguous. of language, open to more than one interpretation, having a double meaning.
That is. Their laws dealing with secession is open to more than one interpretation, having a double meaning. You know what I'm talking about? So let me see. Let me go to what your name. Let's see. So we're not, and that's all of the laws here in America. That's why the Patriot Act ambiguous. The definition of terrorist ambiguous. You know what I'm saying? It's left to open interpretation, more interpretation. There's always a question mark whenever you're dealing with the bottom line when you're dealing with this man, because that's how you operate in deceit. You know what I'm saying? What is the meaning of the word ambiguous? Let's see. Doubtful or uncertain, especially from obscenity or indecisive. I don't know how to pronounce it. Ambiguous has like many words in English more than one possible meaning. A quality some might refer to as ambiguous itself. This word may mean doubtful or uncertain. So we're truly uncertain. But you can never put nothing past these clowns, you know what I'm talking about? But they're making these moves more than likely because they're getting ready to combat these folks, man. It's gonna be an uptick in crime. Watch watch what's being said. That's gonna be an uptick in crime. And that's gonna give the federal officials, by way of their lobbyists, I'm talking about these entities like the WEF and WHO, to be able to make moves, FEMA, I'm talking about all of these entities that are not elected officials, to go ahead and move forward with the plans that they got, sitting on the shelf via executive orders. Anyway, I'm going to close out by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Double honors to the apostle, elders, great millstone with that shalom.